Let's preview the Commanders game. Quick preview. Sunday game, 1 o'clock game at MetLife. Commanders are favored by 2. Over-under is 42. I'm going to take the Giants +2. And I'm going to take the under. I think we're going to get another under here. Like, points are down for the majority of teams. Like 21 of the teams in the NFL are just like really low point outputs. So I have a feeling that this is not, I don't think this is going to get out of hand and there's going to be a ton of points scored. So I'm going to take the under on that and a Giants +2. I think that Buffalo game, you know, I mean, I guess I kind of said the same thing when we upset Denver, you know, 23-10. It was like, it's a whole new world. And then we didn't do shit. So yeah. And season ended miserably and the wheels came completely off. I don't know. It could go that way for sure. Definitely could go away. Probability is it will go that way, or it could be like a huge, humongous rallying cry. And we come out and we start to lay the lumber and get back to our winning ways. Commanders leaders this season on offense. Sam Howell has thrown for 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin, 31 catches, 342 yards, only 1 touchdown. And Brian Robinson Jr., the running back, has 77 carries for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns. So yeah, those are the 2 guys that you have to worry about the most, really, McLaurin and Robinson. Our last 5 matchups with Commanders, we had the ironic that we would have a very blatantly obvious defensive pass interference call not called in our favor the week before we faced the team that we got a favorable non-DPI call against in the last time we saw them in that 20-12 game, which was a Monday night game, I think. We could have very easily lost. We ended up winning 20-12, but it was Heineke throwing to, I forget who, McLaurin, and Darnay Holmes was just draped all over him. It was like obvious interference and wasn't called, and we won. I think it was 4th and goal, right? So yeah, it's the bittersweet symphony of life. And before that was another December game. That was the tie that we should have won. John Feliciano flexed on them hose and got penalized for it. And so pushed us out of field goal range. And so we went into overtime and had to settle for the tie, which sucks. So you could say either way, we could have gone 1-1. Instead, we went 1-0-1. And then January 9th, 2022, this is the 2021 season finale when we got, when Joe Judge went for a QB sneak with Jake Fromm on 3rd and 10 from inside his own 10. And that was the final nail in the coffin for Mr. Judge. He ran QB sneak twice, right? Back-to-back plays, I think. 2nd and 3rd down. And then before that was 2021, September 2021. That was the 1-point loss in Washington where Slayton let a ball go through his hands. And they called Dexter Lawrence for offsides on the field goal attempt that was missed. And they got another try and they hit it. So that was a game that we probably should have won. And then the November 8th, 2020 game, we won 23-20. I think we beat them both times in 2020. We lead the all-time series, 106, 71, and 5. The Commanders are 15th in points scored per game at 22.2. They're 29th in points allowed per game. This is where it gets a little crazy with the Commanders. It's like you would have thought that their defense would be like potentially top 5, but at least a top 10 defense in most statistical categories. And they are not. They're just not playing. I don't know. I guess the point totals are what. But yeah, points a lot of game, 29.3. Got blown out by the Bills. So yeah, it's they're 21st in takeaway differential, 16th in passing yards per game, 25th in rushing yards per game, which is interesting because I feel like they can run the ball. They're defensively 27th in passing yards allowed per game and 23rd in rushing yards allowed per game. And our rankings are not our best ranking is defensive passing yards per game, which is 16th in the league, which that aligns with the eye test. Commanders obviously opened up the season with that 2016 win over the Cardinals, which was a lot closer than people would have thought. People didn't know that the Cardinals are feisty, frisky. Then they have the barn burner shootout at Denver against the Broncos, 35-33 win. Doors blown off against the Bills, 37-3 at home, but then they go to Philly and lose by 3 in overtime against a very good Eagles team. Then they blow out the Bears on Thursday Night Football. Oh no, they get blown out by the Bears, 40-20 at home. And then they beat the Falcons on the road, 24-16. So it seems like they play better on the road, and they're on the road this week. I was looking at playoffstatus.com. That's playoffstatus.com. That's PLAYOFF. And they had the Commanders at the 7 seed. But I've heard recently that the Rams actually have the 7 seed. So it looks like the Commanders might have the 8th slot just outside the playoffs on that bubble. So, humongous game. Can't be overstated. This is the biggest game of the year until the Jets game is the biggest game of the year until, it's just so many must-win big games. It feels like the playoffs start Sunday. It really does feel like the playoffs start Sunday. You got to win and you stay in. But if we have any shot of making the playoffs or making a run at the playoffs, cannot lose to the Commanders. I mean, you lose to the Commanders and you can officially put the season to bed. And we can start our mock drafts, y'all.